What's up? So let's take a quick look at this trade that I took on the 26th of November, which was Wednesday morning, and I took this trade pre-London session. So let's take a look at what my mindset was and what my bias was looking like. So I was looking for shorts, and I have a couple of reasons why. So the first was I had a higher time frame SMT of previous day high, where Euro USD swept previous day's high and GU failed to sweep previous day's high, putting in a fairly swing at 6 a.m. and we will continue and build up on that shortly. The second reason was price on GU was currently in a bearish hourly FEG, and the third reason was that I was getting a possible 4-hour C2 candle closure, a 4-hour bearish C2 candle closure, and all of this was supported by a open high low close day. So basically meaning that price opened up bullish during Asia, anticipating that it's putting in the high of day during Asia and then expanding either for the rest of the day or expanding for the rest of London session after it puts in that high of day or the current high of day until it gets taken. Or it can also just manipulate and then expand during London and then reverse during New York. But basically, just to summarize it, I was looking for shorts for three reasons. One, I had a higher time frame SMT of previous day's high, where EU swept buy side liquidity and GU failed to sweep buy side liquidity, putting in a fairly swing at 6 a.m. The second reason was price was in a bearish 1-hour FEG on GU, and the third reason was that I was getting a possible 4-hour bearish C2 candle closure, and all of this was supported by an open high low close day at the anticipation that Asia would basically have bullish price action for a bit and then London would then distribute lower. So in order for me to take this trade, I was waiting for the 4-hour bearish C2 candle closure to get confirmed by a bearish 15-minute change in state slightly after 8 a.m. opened. Why? Because 8 a.m. would be the bearish C3 4-hour candle, so I would expect it to open and then basically put in a high and then give me that 15-minute change in state of delivery. And basically I was a bit impatient. I anticipated or I guessed that because prices was on its way to give me that 15-minute change in state of delivery, I didn't wait for confirmation for the 15-minute change in state, and then that's when I took the trade. And because of this, for 1 hour from 8 to 9, 1 hour, I literally had to sit there and look at red numbers. I had to sit there and sit through intense drawdown, which was obviously very emotional for me. And normally it would be, it would be okay, but I added on a lot of positions onto this trade because of my confidence level, literally just because of that SMT and because it was a 4-hour bearish C2. What I've noticed is that I need to learn to allow the C3 candle, whether bullish or bearish, I need to allow it to put in its wick or its manipulation before expanding, because like I said, I didn't wait for the confirmation of the 15-minute bearish change in state of delivery. It looked like it was going to give me that, and then it was literally 2 points away from giving me that, and then it was too late. I entered, and what do you know, price starts retracing after 8 a.m. opens. So basically it retraces, right, and then it sweeps 6 a.m.'s high, and well, it sweeps 7 a.m.'s high as well. So basically after I entered, price at 8 a.m. it retraces bullish, and then it takes out 7 a.m.'s high, and then thankfully it closes back into the range. So 8 a.m. opens, retraces bullish, sweeps 7 a.m.'s buy side liquidity, closes back into the range, and then it gives me my entry signal. It gives me that 15-minute bearish change in state of delivery, right? So this is when I got the perfect A plus setup. Why is it perfect? Why is it A plus? Well, I had a 1 hour bearish C2 candle closure at 8 a.m. along with bearish SMT of previous day's high, where GU put in its failure swing and EU swept previous day's high, and then followed by a 15-minute bearish change in state of delivery, a confirmed 15-minute bearish change in state of delivery, and then C3 opened, right? So 9 a.m. opened, and then it retraced into a 15-minute FEG, creating the top wick of the hour of 9 a.m. and then from there it expanded lower. So thankfully the actual setup occurred, because I actually supposed to get stopped out. I'm being 100% honest with you. My stop loss was at the SMT high, but I decided to hold. So technically I would have tilted if it did not play out, because I would have lost like 3%, which is what I already gained on the account. But thankfully I got the actual setup afterwards, shortly after I entered the trade. So the setup that I was looking at was a 4 hour bearish change in what I was looking at was a 4 hour bearish C2 candle closure with SMT, and I'm supposed to wait for that 15-minute bearish change in state of delivery, but I didn't get that, and I entered too early, price and retraced. But then thankfully after that the actual setup occurred, where I got a 1 hour bearish C2 candle closure at 8 a.m. where 8 a.m. opened. It opened up bullish, it swept 7 a.m.'s buy side liquidity, it closed back into the range, followed by a 15-minute bearish change in state of delivery. From there 9 a.m. or the bearish C3 hourly candle opened at 9 a.m. I then put in its high by trading into a 15-minute bearish FEG, and then from there price just fell all the way down. And also as soon as it went back to, after sitting so long in drawdown, as soon as it went back to my entry, that is when I added on to more positions so that I can get out the trade easier. And I literally got out the trade at 3%, and it went a lot longer. It fell all the way, probably like for over 20 points, to be honest. My original TP was 20 points. I got out at 11 points, and that's okay for me, to be honest, because like I said, I added on a lot of positions, so I made more initially on the trade that I was anticipating on making. So price would have gone all the way to 20 points. It basically hit my TP, and then it retraced into another 15-minute bearish FEG, and then from there it fell all the way to TP. However, I'm super content with this because my TP was also at a bullish 1 hour FEG, which obviously it's an opposing PD array, so I was like, I'm fine with me taking my profits there. I would rather take my profits at 3%, which is a lot to make on a funded challenge. I would rather take my profits at 3% than to have that 3% and then price reverses on me because I refused to close a trade at an obvious higher time frame opposing PD array. So I'm really glad that I closed the trade when I did. Yes, I could have made a lot more on the account had I held the trade, but to be honest, this was a phenomenal trade, and I'm glad that I took it when I did. I'm glad I'm getting somewhere. I'm glad that I'm basically speed running phase 1, because as you know, I haven't even passed the phase 1 before. I haven't passed the funded account before, so, and I'm documenting everything as well. So when I do, I'm not going to say if, but when I do actually pass phase 1 and pass the funded challenge, I'm gonna be over the moon, really. I'm going to be so grateful. Honestly, I'm going to be so grateful to Jesus, to God, that He gave me the opportunity and the mindset to trade and the mindset to read the charts and understand trading. I'm going to be overwhelmingly and eternally grateful for the opportunity, because I can see the results. The results is it's right in front of me. The numbers don't lie. The data speaks for itself. So I definitely know that I will be able to change my life through trading. All I need to do is remain consistent and remain faithful. Don't forget to put God first in my life. Actually start putting more time into God, putting more time into reading the Bible, into getting to know Jesus, you know. So yeah, but basically that's the trade for today. Up 3% on the account. So yeah, that's an amazing trade.